Malaki Ugwumadu joins us now. He's also a lawyer on this matter. Good morning.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
What the Kogi election matters, we've seen it's been a busy moment, quite a sad occurrence there in Kogi State, but a busy moment for lawyers trying to see how this can be sorted out. For the senior advocate, he did say perhaps we should be thinking of having a fresh election, but for some others, they just want to go back before the demise of Audu, leading up to the declaration by INEC that election was inconclusive. Looking at the results collation and everything that transpired before the declaration or the pronouncement of INEC, what would you say about the outcome of that election? Please,
may you grant me the indulgence to join others in commiserating with the family of Audu Abubakar, but more importantly, the people of Kogi State, who were in high hopes that they have collectively expressed their will and that they would have a governor declared as the returned candidate. Having said that, let me also make the preliminary point that it's quite a recondite situation, even on points of law. It's neither here nor there, essentially because the law itself did not anticipate this peculiar circumstance that we find ourselves. The views have been varied, and understandably so. The law is also clear with respect to what will happen with respect to the demise of a candidate before the polls. That gives the party the privilege to substitute. Again, the other scenario envisaged is after the election itself. If the governor drops dead or is unable to assume office for one reason or the other, automatically the running mate with whom he enjoyed the ticket moves in. But this is a situation in which the election had been conducted, declared inconclusive. And so it is for that reason that all of these ideas are propping up. Now let's interrogate it a little further and ask a few questions, essentially because the business of INEC is primarily to midrive the election and to ensure that the processes are smooth enough to guarantee a reflection of the will of the people. I think that the INEC had taken a decision that at the moment has further complicated the issue. They were basing the declaration of inconclusiveness of the election on the fact that the number of registered voters, that the margin between the leading candidate and the second run-up was less than the number of registered voters. And that is where I found a little curious, because we've never seen in the history of elections in this country where all registered voters turn up for election. One would have imagined that what will guide them in circumstances like this is to ascertain, which is a question of fact, ascertain from your record the number of accredited members. By far more than that is the fact that they distributed PVCs, and that would have been a better guide rather than considering the number of registered. It is the consideration of the number of registered voters that led them to the conclusion that the areas that were declared inconclusive was more than the margin on the basis of which
it was less.
Sorry?
I think the argument was that it was less.
No, the point they made is that if the margin between the leading candidate and the second most popular candidate is such that is less than the number of the totality of the polls that were declared, cancelled, then you will have an inconclusive result. But the point I am making, and this is with all due respect and humility, is that you need not predicate it on the number of registered voters for two obvious reasons. One is that you hardly will find a situation in which all registered voters will turn up for the election. As a matter of fact, they need not suffer that speculation, having regards to the fact that they already have number of accredited voters. Now, if you had the number of accredited, in short, you couldn't have had votes beyond the number of accredited voters. Besides, you have also distributed your PVCs in those localities. With the combination of the records of the number of accredited voters as well as the distribution, you would have found a number so that instead of the 49,000 voters that they are talking about, the record shows that it's hovering around 25,000. And if you had that, you wouldn't go ahead to declare because it would have reversed the situation. So that's a mistake that I think that INEC has done. Unfortunately, like I said, the law, took care of two different scenarios other than the one we have at the moment. One is when such an unfortunate incident occurs before the poll, then there can be substitution. Or in the alternative, where such a situation happens after the polls with the declaration of the result, then the deputy governor nominated can take over according to the law. This kind of situation is not envisaged, and this is precisely why we are in the situation we find ourselves.
If you look at this now, we have seen, according to your view, you've been able to pick holes in what INEC has done concerning the declaration of that particular election as inconclusive. But leading up to the, preparations for the supplementary elections and the very unfortunate news we finally heard yesterday, some are trying to see how we can move ourselves out of this web. It is a web, as described by some lawyers, because even the constitutional provision as well as the Electoral Act, as you just observed, never envisaged this scenario. In moving forward, what do you think the political parties, INEC, should be doing in Kogi State at the moment?
Now, if you went ahead with the situation as it is now, APC will feel strongly shortchanged. If you reversed it...
When you mean as it is now, you're talking about the supplementary elections?
About the declaration of the inconclusiveness of the election.
So they have to go back to address that?
Now, that is one. On the other hand, PDP would like to take advantage of the lacuna that had been created. At the end of the day, what you must not lose focus of is where does the will of the people of Kogi State. Do not forget, there's already a lead from the results. I mean, more than up to 85–90% of the election have been declared, and the results are clear regarding who is taking the lead. What has become of issue is the areas in which the election have been declared inconclusive. So there have been divergent opinion on that, and I think that the one that appeals to me a lot more is that there should be a fresh election, in respect of which the APC, for instance,